This is Biz Talk with Tanya, brought to you by Wiz Digital Academy, a show for business athletes and online bosses who are ready to take up. Hello, beautiful people. So today is a podcast episode for Biz Talk with Tanya, and it's a solo episode because I wanna have a conversation with y'all, my peeps, my business athletes around business. And something interesting that I've been thinking of, because I had a conversation with somebody in my community, and it's about the changes that I've made in my business, the type of clients that I work with, and like my messaging has changed and what's going on. And she was like, "Go, like, put me on, like, what's up?" So I decided to record a conversation around that, kind of like an echo room of why I'm doing what I'm doing and why you should consider that. So on this note, if this is your first time here, I am Tanya. I'm a business coach and marketing strategist, and I work with SMBs and consultants to amplify their marketing message and attract premium clients and opportunity using social media, because we're turning social media into a client acquisition machine here. So now let's have this conversation here, because I believe this happened. It started happening sometime last year. I wasn't very happy with a lot of things, and especially in the online space and primarily doing online coaching, I started feeling a lot of resistance. And if anybody has been around, has been exposed to my brand for a while, they would notice like the shifts. Like I started making shifts slowly but surely, but early around 2022, like yeah, something wasn't giving. I wasn't really happy with how the business looked, and I wanted some change. I started that late last year, where I started hey, my English bundles. When you're African, English bundles. Hey, so don't mind me, but um, basically, I wanted my business to no longer be associated with my name, Tanya. If when I went to market as a coach, and I eventually hired a coach, what was taught was that yeah, you wanted to show more of your life, you wanted this, you wanted to to be known as the expert, you wanted to sell on lifestyle. And for a long time, I felt like, okay, this is what my coach is telling me. Your girl is moving like that because I want to be coachable. And I wasn't really for it because it wasn't really my thing. Because I remember my coach telling me, focus on one platform, focus on Facebook, forget the rest. And for me, that wasn't giving. The math wasn't mathing because it didn't make sense for me, because I felt that focusing on one platform, and one platform that had where content had no longevity, for me was a waste of time, because at the time already I had started to create content for my business, and I was creating YouTube content. I was creating podcasts as well, episodes from my content, because what I had wanted to do was always to create leverage with content, and that thing wasn't my thing. But for the time being, yeah, I tried that. But then yeah, the math was no longer mathing. I felt burnt out. I felt exhausted. I felt like I was on a hamster wheel and needed to figure something out, because I was like, maybe what I was doing before, I was on the path to something, but it wasn't really working completely well, because I was also attracting a lot of freebie seekers, and I was like, that the problem lies in the content. So I started working with a coach around figuring out content creation. So eventually, I went back to my roots of business. I was like, you know what? whether it's an online business, whether it's not an online business, yeah, you gotta figure out something because child, this is not what you want. You don't want to have a business that is tied to you because one thing I had learned coming from obviously other sectors was that I knew that I wanted the ability to exit. I wanted the ability to eventually perhaps sell my business. So I started looking at the structure of the business that I was creating. And I realized that this, while I was on the path to creating, working with the coach that I was working at the time, wasn't the business that I wanted. It wasn't the goal, it wasn't the plan. So I had to go back, and a few months back, I actually hired, after I'd finished working with one, the coach with content, figuring out how I wanted, what I actually learned from them was actually just structuring. It was like a 2 weeks intensive where I really wanted to understand the leverage that they were creating, but they were primarily creating written content, and I wanted something completely different, which I eventually figured out, which is the content marketing ecosystem, and it leverages different forms of content and also leverages other systems to ensure that you create a flywheel. That is the content marketing ecosystem, because you create a flywheel that attracts, drives consideration and pre-sales, and also convert, because I've had people convert primarily on content. So I wanted the difference. So I hired a coach that had created a consulting business, and had scaled it to 9 figures and had exited at 9 figures. So I was like, you know what? That's the person I want to work with. And that's when I started figuring out a whole lot of ish. Because he had never worked in the online space. He was primarily a coach for consultants. And he primarily, a lot of things I've learned were quite different, but it wasn't that different from things that I knew. So when I started working with him, I realized that, hey, yeah, this is what I want. I want to be able to exit. These are the levers that I need to be able to pull. These are the assets I need to create. These are the type of deals I need to look into. Because a lot of the time, when you're on the online space, what you are taught to create is a cash cow. You can create cash because, yeah, you create revenue. However, you do not create assets. And that was a problem because there's a difference between creating a business where you are self employed and a business that is an asset. Because in terms of valuation, it will be completely different. So I started reworking my office, reworking a lot of the things that I wanted. And today I wanted to share a little bit about what you need to think of when you are creating a business. Like, child, this conversation, I wish I had that somebody had that with me when I started out. Would have saved me a whole lot of having to step back and pull back and go back full force, pull back and go full force. So let's talk. Oh, and before we finish, like we get into this, like if you are looking for how to create content that converts, I have a presentation down here. You'll see the content ecosystem, and if you want to speak with me or a member of my team on how we could serve your business, yeah, the link to book a consultation will be just under here. We work with established entrepreneurs, not really newbies. So you need to be established. You need to already be making some money in your business, around 80 to 100K, so we can actually implement systems in your business that will be able to work. And if you are like, yeah, you are looking to shift hard into attracting premium clients, like your 5 figures, six figures client, there will be a complimentary course as well down there. So just quick plug, because my business that sponsored this podcast, I had to plug myself. So some of the things that you need to be able to think about are: one, is the business that you're creating sellable? Yeah, it's enjoyable right now. You're enjoying being a coach. You're enjoying sharing what you share, creating content. But is it something that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you'll still want to be doing? Because the reality is, your life may look completely different 5 years from now. It may look completely different 10 years from now. And maybe 10 years from now, you no longer want to be working in that business. Will this business that you are creating be sellable? What do I mean? A lot of time you realize that I stopped, like I used to have a website, Online. That's where I ran my business. And then I shifted to Risk Digital Academy .online. The reason why I did that is because I started creating an asset. I wanted to start creating an asset that didn't exist because of my name. Because here's the thing, I can't sell Tanya Kabuya. Even let's say I don't know if you realize you can sell a website. If the website makes money, you can sell a website. I can't sell Tanya Kabuya. I would never be able to sell Tanya Kabuya. But I could be able to sell Biz Digital.
We will be back shortly with your episode. Right now, let's hear a quick word from today's episode sponsor.
Are you looking for a simple way to start making sales? Then you'll want to check out our coaching program, Easy Sales Blueprint. Finally, an easy way to sell your program or service. Discover the simple steps to creating a lucrative coaching or consulting business. The Easy Sales Blueprint gives you a step-by-step method to easily make more sales without spending all day on social media, cold outreach, and hitting the door to try a good old-fashioned door-to-door sales system. Apply today by heading to tiny.cc/getmoresales to find out how we can help you achieve online sales success. So you want to start having that conversation with yourself. Are you creating a business that you'll be able to exit, that is not tied to you? Because even if somebody had to buy, even if you build, let's say, Tanya Kabuya to 8 figures, the reality is nobody will be able to buy it. If you were like, you know what, I'm tired, I'm ready to retire, you would have to close that business down. And that is wasted years. Because think about it. If you took 10 years to build this business, if you bought a house, right, today, and you wanted to sell it 10 years from now, the value of the house will not be the same as the value it will be in 10 years' time. That would not be the case. It's impossible. It definitely will go up in value, all things held constant. But now, do you realize that when you're building a business, it's supposed to be an asset like a house? So 10 years from now, if you wanted to sell it, the value should be, at there. Let's even go back to another example. You're working, you got a job, you're starting today, you are paid $30 an hour. 10 years from now, you probably will be paid $300 an hour because of your expertise, right? Value accrued. But if you are trading under your name, your business is under your name, 10 years from now, what will be the value? Your personal brand will be worth it. Of course, you could slap your name onto something else, and yeah, it will be worth it. If you build a strong enough personal brand, people will follow you. But what happens then to that business? It sinks. If 10 years from now, you no longer want to do that. And that was a conversation I had to have with myself when I worked with that coach. Secondly, in this event, you need to have a conversation around what type of business are you creating? Are you self-employed? Do you want to create a a company, or do you want to eventually grow your business to an enterprise level? This is an important conversation, because if you just want to create a business where you're employed, yeah, then by all means, that's a lifestyle business. That's okay. However, if you want to eventually create a company that accrues in values, you have a bunch of people working for you, and you probably want to build other assets underneath. Because let's say, for example, if you have a service business, you could add a SaaS business to your a SaaS product under your business. For example, you need to think, like, how are you structuring that business? Like, how are you setting it up? Because if you are operating just under your name and you want to build this assets, how are you going to structure that? How are you structuring that? These are the conversations you need to have. If you want to build an enterprise, how, even if you build, I mean, there are enterprises that have been built with people's names. I mean, Johnson and Johnson, Ernest and Young, McKinsey and Company. Those were people's name. But do you know what was McKinsey? Probably not, because at a certain point in time, they separated the person from the business brand. So it's important to realize that you want to eventually separate your business brand from who you are as a person, because that is going to come to bite you later on. And another conversation that I had this conversation with the coach, was how are you marketing yourself? The prominent way to market yourself online is, I am the expert. I'm the only one that can save you in everything and in that and that. You know what? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, here's my money, how much I've made. This is what I've made. This is blah, blah, blah. Problem is that you attract people that believe that you are Jesus in their life. Now, what that creates is dependency on you to deliver the service. So even if you hire people underneath you to work with clients to free yourself from the business, a lot of people will come, I want to work with Tanya. I want to work with Elizabeth. I want to work with Mary. I want to work with Larry. Because, child, you've created that mess. You've created that situation. And you are now tied to the result of your business. You have no assets that people are like, no, I'm coming to learn this, or I'm coming because this is what they do. So how you marketing yourself is also very important to the kind of business that you're going to create. Because if you market yourself in how people are marketing themselves right now in the online space, you tie yourself to the business. You are tying yourself to the results that your business delivers. So you cannot be extracted from the business, because the brand of the business is tied to you. So this was something I didn't want. I didn't want the brand of the business to be tied to me. I wanted the brand of the business to be tied to what we do and how we do it. These were some of the most important facts that led to the shift in my business, in how I'm marketing, how I'm doing things, even the moves that I've put in place that will be taking place next year, some of the things that we are currently doing, the kind of clients we're going after as well. Because I didn't want the business to be tied to me. And I didn't want to only be Tanya the business, Tanya the coach. I wanted to be Tanya the marketing expert. I've always been a strategist, and I was never comfortable doing the whole lifestyle marketing, because first of all, I really don't like people in my life. Like, looking into my life. Though I'm going to share a little bit in the next couple of weeks, like the behind the scenes of my life. But y'all better not expect that these things will happen all the time. I even say that in that vlog that I just don't want people in my business like that. I don't want you in my business. I don't want you knowing my life like that. So that's it. These are the changes that I've made. And these are the reasons why I've made these changes, because I realized that my vision was different, completely different. And there's a lot of things that are in the work, a lot of things that are happening. There's a lot of change that has happened with my company, a lot of expansion as well. Like, we're building a completely remote business. We've extended ourselves. We are a bigger family right now with people from across the continent. So I'm excited with where the business is going, how it's going, and what it looks like, the kind of project that we might be working on, and we actually will be working on, like being able to see like businesses with great visions come to life and stuff like that, working with different type of businesses to propel the message. I'm actually very excited, and for the first time in a long time, I'm actually enjoying the business. I'm actually enjoying my business, because it looks exactly how I wanted it to be, and it's no longer somebody else's vision of what it should be, and it's no longer somebody telling me that now I'm wrong, my vision is not correct, I need to do things exactly like them in a cookie cutter. So this is something that I actually enjoy, and this is something that I appreciate, having worked with a mentor that wasn't in the online space. This man is not in the online space, and it's very, his program was very logical. You get me? It's very, yeah, teaching you the correct way to run a consulting business, because that's what I want. I want a consulting business. I don't just want a coaching business. I want a consulting business that incorporates coaching for entrepreneurs and stuff. And I'm creating assets within my business as well, and different revenue models that will add to its value when I eventually want to exit. So this was me documenting why I've made those changes after I had somebody ask me this question. If you have any question on the subject, drop it in the comments. I'll be happy to answer. Or send me a DM on LinkedIn. That's probably right now my main platform, or on Facebook, but I'm not really there and stuff. Neither am I really on Instagram. Like, Instagram is a ghost town right now, child. But yeah, LinkedIn, you'll get me to respond to you. Ask me those questions, like what you want to know. But on this note, I'm actually going to end it here. And I'll see you on Thursday with another video. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe if you're a newbie. Like, we bring in some interesting stuff here, some interesting conversations and everything. And follow me on LinkedIn. Let's chat. Let's develop this relationship between me and you. On this note, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.